Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Virche Epic Lycoris. And if I sound less than thrilled, it's because I was trying to go to record this, and my stupid tablet's like, oh, I'm just gonna update. Fine, whatever, because we don't have any more choices left. I don't need the guy right now. No! And then Microsoft is a fucking cunt. You need to, sign in to be able to use your fucking... I fucking hate them when they do this shit. I don't want your fucking shit. Don't try to sell me your shit. You're gonna fucking do an update. Just fucking update it and go about your fucking business. Don't make me fucking have to log into my account and jump through these hoops and tell you I don't want fucking Office 365 and all this bullshit. Fuck you. So goddamn obnoxious. And I'm like, I don't fucking know. I gotta go fucking look up what my fucking password is, because what the fuck do I know? Because oh god, I hate it so fucking much. So that's where I am at right now. Fuck Microsoft. Seriously? Jesus goddamn Christ. Ugh. Anyway, we're back with more of Eve's route. I really don't know what's happening here. I hope we're gonna get our end in this part, but they have this habit of, kind of doing some stuff, and then when you're, getting to the point where you think it's an end, they're like, and now here's a whole new plot point, and you're like, do you not know how to, tie it in better? I understand, when we're doing a long-length game, you're gonna have, other plot things that maybe pop up, or whatever, but this is not a full-length game. These are, after stories, so doing a plot, and then getting to the end of that, and then and now we have another one, doesn't make sense. This is like what they did in Mathis's, where our whole entire time we spend just kind of researching Camille and Rosalie's relationship, and then you get to the point where we lay them to rest and everything's going to wrap up. Oh, and then, but let's just talk about how we haven't figured out what the fuck we're going to do in the future. And it's like, they could have put that in the midst of the whole plot, because with Rosalie and Camille, because... after that, it was and then we went and told all of our friends what we were going to do, and which was nothing, because you hadn't decided anything, so that seems completely fucking pointless. Still makes no goddamn sense to me, but, and then it's and then we went about our lives not knowing, and we didn't do anything, and we have no idea what we're going to do. You know what I mean? And it's what? And I get it, but they just don't know how to weave the stories together properly for this. It's they're trying to do too much, but instead of actually putting in the effort and being okay, so we have these 3 plot points we kind of want to work on. So let's start with this. We're mostly focusing on point A, but when we're getting toward the end of plot A, maybe then we start throwing in plot B, Because in Mathis's, yes, the whole overarching thing was we need to figure out what we're going to do because he's going to claw his heart out. Okay, so then we decided to go... find out more about Rosalie and Camille and whatever. They could have just, instead of then just being okay, well, fuck that for now. Let's do this. And then come back to they just need to weave it together better. So in the midst of investigating Camille and Rosalie or spending some time, they could have had an aside of we went and told our friends and blah, blah, blah. And whatever. Or after we did the little investigation, after we went to our 3 little places and whatever, then you have the thing where we talk to everyone. We don't know what we're going to do, if we're going to decide to just die or come back as relivers and just live painfully every year or whatever, and then have that little scene and then kind of just weave it in a little better so that when you have the building the grave for Camille and Rosalie, then it's not really the end because, okay, we still haven't, and then make a throwaway line there. We still haven't figured out what we're going to do, and that's a huge thing we need to discuss, whatever. And then you have your little thing and you tie it up, But that at least they could resolve faster. How are you going to resolve? We now have a huge plot point of we're going to uncover Dahut. This is a whole plot in itself. So you're either going to drag it out and make it boring now, where we're we're still here, are we still doing this? Why at the minute 11:59 did you decide to try to shove in an entire couple of hours of plot that now you're dragging it along and making it boring? Or it's a throwaway thing and it's going to wrap up in 5 minutes, and then you're again, what's the point of it? I'm not really sure why? I don't know. And I feel like that's the huge problem I have with this is I think they're trying to do too much to try to jam in as much stuff in a fan disc, which theoretically should be awesome, but I just don't think they have a really good handle on it. It's not. It makes me question every single day when I'm not playing this. I'm like, what are we doing here? And I hate that. I don't like feeling like that because at the end of the game, I want to be like, this was a good use of our time, but I kind of flip between sometimes we have fun, and then I'm like, but really, what the fuck? But I like these characters and the original story, and like, but what the fuck? Especially because it is very heavier themes and stuff like that, so it does weigh on you. So it is a lot harder to get through, not because it's a slog, like some games we've played, it's because it's heavier topics, you need more of an emotional break from it, but then you're trying to jam in more, and it's like, this isn't a full-length game, though. I know we paid the price of a full-length game for the fan disc, but if it was shorter, I think we'd still be okay, because, I don't know, I think you're trying too much, and you're just, I don't know. So, most of Eve's stuff has been fine so far. I don't think he suffers from the really bringing it down the way poor Mathis did. Again, that was just a bad place to start, so I can't really fault Mathis route too much. I've got to be like, okay, my perspective of it was not great, but again, I think it's just where we started. Most of Eve's has been good, but we still have these moments where I'm like, why are we introducing what should be a huge plot point like now? And how are you going to handle it satisfactorily? You know? And I don't know if they can. And yet, there's been nothing so far in Eve's route where I've been like, yeah, no, that wasn't a good ending, or that wasn't satisfactory, or whatever. They've turned it out pretty much. But I think that's the problem too. I shouldn't be sitting here at this point and going, yeah, I don't think you're going to come to a satisfactory conclusion with this. That's not going to make me question what the point was. And I shouldn't be feeling that way this early in a game. But if I'm already feeling that way, then that tells me that you just didn't weave your plots together well enough. And, like, I don't want to sit there and be like, the writing's bad, because it's not that. It's just, you had too many ideas, and I don't think you executed them together properly, you know? And that's not really where you want to be, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, we'll see. This is a huge plot point, and let's see what they do, because, you know, every time I feel like I've started to question things in Eve's route, we've gotten to, or anytime I'm like, okay, we're getting to the point where this is like really boring and pointless, then they turn it around, they do something where I'm like, and now we're back to doing something that intrigues me and interests me and brings it back around, you know? So, I know I should just complain less, but I don't know what it is about this fan disc that makes me just really, I'm still on the fence, I guess? I don't know. Like, I think that's the part that concerns me the most, is like, I like these characters, I wanted to be here, but maybe my expectations for it, I don't think were greater, I guess they were just different, and now I'm kind of like, I don't know, and I don't like feeling that way, I guess, because, like, I want this to be like other fan discs or whatever when you get it and you're like, even if the plot is stupid, I don't even care. I love being here. And I'm not there yet. And that's disappointing to me. And I think I'm disappointing myself. I don't know if the game is necessarily the one doing it. I think I'm doing it. So I don't know. But anyway. And you haven't seen any of these parts yet because nothing's gone up yet. So, like, really going to be curious when we get to this part, you know, what your thoughts have been the whole time on like, yeah, no, I played it and I was feeling the same way, or oh my god, no, I really loved it, or, you know, like, I don't know. Anyway, so we're about to just go on a whole new plot point, and we'll see how they turn it around, and if they turn it around. So I will accept your request and work with you to find and stop the supporter. But it's not so I can become a hero. It's so I can live with Spacey in peace. I figured you'd say that. A perfectly arrogant response from the demon that destroyed my salvation. Despite the words he spoke, Cyan nodded with satisfaction. Work with my guards to gather information and investigate the underground passage. We'll invade the supporters' base of operations in a week once everything's ready. Okay, so we're gonna, jump ahead a week?
Understood. I'll have Spacey come with me when that time comes.
As promised, Eve made sure to bring up my involvement from the very start. Cyan flatly responded he didn't care. Sounds about right. We continued the discussion in detail. Please don't give us all the detail. It was decided that I'd be sending Eve and the others off to each expedition down below and assisting them as needed. Okay.
I'll return safe and sound no matter what, so please wait for me.
You fucking better. This is supposed to be the end of your salvation route, so you can't die here. That would be fucking... that would fucking ruin everything. Okay, please be safe. Eve gave me a firm hug, then slowly let go to head off to his first expedition. We nodded at each other without saying a word. Now then, shall we? Do keep your guard up, as we'll be entering a domain unknown even to me.
Understood. Watch my back, will ya?
With Anko, who was hiding some kind of weapon under his clothes, Eve set off and disappeared into the passage. A few days passed. Okay, so we're not going to get too in-depth. Okay. All right. I'm feeling you so far, how you're doing this. Although, again, I think it's a very big plot point to just kind of throw in and throw away, but I'd rather you do that than spend 4 hours going through it, because we've already been here for a while, and it seems like, again, not a good use of our time. As Eve and Anko continued their investigations, the scale of the underground passage and the devices found became clear. Fortunately, they returned safely each time, since no enemies were found stationed there. Are they really going to uncover Dahut here?
I'm back, Spacey. Sorry for being late again today.
Every day, Eve returned to our room tired and soaking wet. Welcome back. Thank you for always working so hard. It seems so difficult to investigate that vast underground network of tunnels. I handed Eve a towel, which she used to dry his face.
Yeah. The passage is drenched with some kind of medicinal liquid. It takes so much more energy to trudge through it. Today I even tripped and fell by accident.
Let me help you get nice and dry so you don't catch a cold.
Yes, please.
Oh, I don't... Are you... Let me help you get nice and dry, wink wink. You're just gonna make this man dirty. Let's stop being so innocent. I was happy to accept the towel Eve offered to me without hesitation. I used it to dry his hair, and I heard him chuckle from the ticklish feeling. Although these are wholesome and adorable moments, so we're fine. Also, even if if you're gonna get inappropriate, don't make me read it, but just, allude to it. Blatantly allude to it without the details. After Eve changed his clothes, I had him sit on a chair, and I carefully combed through his now dry hair from behind. Your hair's grown quite a bit.
I'll let you mention it. There hasn't been much time for me to get a haircut.
And yet, your little face-framing layers are still the exact same length.
I originally let it grow out for good luck, but do you think I should cut it?
I think you're fine as long as it doesn't hinder your movement. Your hair's very beautiful and soft. Just touching it makes me feel happy.
In that case, I guess I should let it grow a bit longer. I have a new wish I want to fulfill now.
A wish? What kind of wish?
It's a secret, especially to you. For now, at least.
Eve put his finger to his lips and smiled like a mischievous child. You know that you're only making me more curious, right?
I'll tell you what my wish is once it comes true.
Then it's a promise. My curiosity was piqued, but if he was going to tell me one day, I shouldn't press too hard for the answer. So is the investigation going well?
Yeah, Science said he'll go down into the underground passage and hack the devices there to make a map pretty soon. Once that's done, we'll be able to hit our target's secret base of operations.
I hope it works. I needed to make sure I didn't become a burden once that time came. With his hair cleanly brushed, I leaned against Eve's back. And I hope you'll come back safe and sound again tomorrow. What I shared with him wasn't just a wish, but a sincere request.
I'll make sure that comes true. I'll never die alone and leave you behind.
He laid his hand gently upon mine, which rested on his shoulder. Time flowed by so gently and quietly that I didn't notice that someone was right outside of our room. Ooh. Who was spying on us? Mathis? Oh, that's true. Wait, no. In this one, they knew who Camille was because, like, we had that conversation earlier, like, too bad Jean's in prison.
My dear friend was safe. And when I found out that he was able to extend his life by a year, I was so happy I leapt for joy in my room.
Curious about this.
I'm so glad you and Spacey are safe, Eve. If for some reason science said that I should be having regular physical examinations, so we should be able to meet at the Institute before too long. Really, I'd like to apologize again for worrying you. And thank you for watching over us.
Oh, they must be communicating on the transmitter. Okay. Because I was like, I'm really kind of curious as to why we needed the Mathis aside. I mean, like, it's nice to see that he's, like, happy for us, but also it's like, again, some of these things, it's like, there's moments like this, you're like, it's kind of cute, but I'm still questioning, like, but is there a point? Aside from it being cute? I think what it is because some games, when you do after stories, it's literally all useless fluff. That's all it is. The whole after event story is just all like stuff like this where it's like, oh, we talked to Nadia and then we talked to Mathis and then we did this. And there's no point to any of it aside from just like showing you happy little moments. It's useless filler fluff. And that's perfectly fine. I'm not complaining about that because that's what happened. You're like, I'm just here for we had a happy ending and then here's all the filler fluff after. There's really no point. It's just showing us being happy and we're just here for the gumdrops and rainbows and lollipops and kittens. Okay? That's what we're here for, all the fluffy goodness. And it's all pointless and ridiculous and unnecessary, but we want that and that's what you're getting. But then you're doing this where you're like, there's a plot, but then most of the plot is like, and then we have the filler stuff, and it's like, I kind of just want you to do like one or the other. You know what I mean? I think it's like they're trying to do two different things. They're trying to give you like the cute, happy fluff, but it kind of, maybe it doesn't work because it's this game where you're like, there's always the looming dread of angst on top of it. You know? I mean, honestly, I feel like Mathis's after story until we got to that moment where it was like you had the perfect ending and then you're dragging it along. They did the filler fluff kind of better. Oh, yes, he had the whole plot. He's going to rip his heart out. But then we went and we learned about Camille and Rosalie, and you're like, okay, this is cute little fillery fluff stuff. And it was kind of fun. You know what I mean? And then but again, they could have done it better and it would have been less aggravating. But now we're doing, it's like, but now you're back on a plot, but then now we're not. But yeah, but we're not. And it's like, again, I think it's just, I hate to say they just don't know how to weave the things together. And it's like, I don't mind if it's all going to be filler fluff, but it's like you're trying to have these heavy, intense plots because this game is serious and heavy and dark. And it's got like, the angsty weight to it. But then we're going to put in the filler fluffies, and it's like, pick one or the other. Like, I don't know. Like, I understand, like, the heavier, angsty kind of stuff in some of the, like, after the bad ending and in the encore. But if you're going to do the salvation one and you're like, we just want you to feel happy, but also there's deep plot, and it's like, just pick one. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I get because they have to continue and the salvation ends weren't like happy, everything is perfect. It was like kind of bittersweet where you're like, we're just going to watch Eve die. So we had to have that kind of plot. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know. I want the happier fluff stuff, but I guess because it's this game that it's like, they did really good in the first game of like mixing in the like found family little moments. And you're like, look at this. We're having a great time. This game is the trauma train, but we're having fun, right? And now for some reason in this fan disc, I'm like, it's like they're not doing it right this time. They did it so well in the first game, mixing in the cute little fluff segments and the happy moments where you're like, oh, right, we're all going to die. It's tragic. But like here, you're like, oh, okay, what are we doing? Why? And I guess I'm just not feeling it in this one. Is that what it is? Like, and it's the same writers, but like, they're just not, they're on their C game, I feel like. Like, I want to love these moments because theoretically I do, but there's also a part of me that's like, what's the point here? Are we getting to a point? And I don't like who I am while I'm playing this game, is what it is. Because I should not be complaining about these cute little moments. Because we loved them in the first game. This game is making me not like who I am right now. I don't like who this game is making me be while playing this game. And I don't know what the problem is. I don't know what it is, but I'm just like, I don't want to be this person, guys. I don't want to be like this. I don't, but I can't stop it. I can't stop these moments of being like, but this is what I want. I want these cute little moments like this. I don't want the heavy, depressing plots. I want cute fluff shit. I know we had to have a depressing moment before we got here, but this is all I want. I don't want the plot anymore. I just want cute moments. And yet now I'm like, because you've made me like depressed. I don't know. I don't know what it is that feels off. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe this was not the time in my life we should have been playing this game. I really don't know. It's a conundrum and I wish I had answers. Anyway. I think we read that, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It was 10 o'clock at night. Oh, this is Mathis, sorry.
It was 10 o'clock at night. The voice I heard through the transmitter was the same as I remembered. Maybe we should borrow the kitchen and make something special just for you, Mathis. Wow, I'm so excited. I can't wait. When Jean returns, I'll learn some recipes and treat you all to a feast. It was a wonderful thought. Just the idea of it was making me hungry.
You know what I mean? Because you want to see, like, poor little Mathis being happy and everything. You want this. But, like, part of my brain is confused. I don't know.
I was so relieved I felt I could cry. Don't. This mansion had been very quiet ever since Jean disappeared. It was true I was lonely, but I couldn't be weak now, after everything even the others had been through. Now that I'd heard his voice, I felt like I had finally been liberated from my solitude.
See, and then, like, Eve was gonna die, and, like, Mathis was gonna be sad. And so, like, yes, we need little things like this. So why does it tweak my, like, frustration for some reason? Because I want scenes like this. I don't get it.
Is Spacey already asleep by chance? Well, it's pretty late already. I'm not too sleepy myself, so I'm glad I can talk to you. Also, there's a certain request I wanted to ask from you, Mathis.
A request, you say? Okay, see, so they're, like...
It was unusual to hear Eve ask for something from me. I sensed that he was scratching his cheek on the other side of the transmitter. Well, it isn't something I want right now, but... Would you be able to ask the place you usually get your clothes to prepare a pretty dress?
Huh? Well, that's interesting. And adorable. You know what I mean? Because, like, we had the scene earlier, and, like, I think it was the last part where it's like, and then we were cleaning, and it's like, what the fuck is the point of talking about cleaning the lab? And then we ran into Doll Hunt, and we talked to Nadia, and you're like, oh, no, see, like, this is fine. I don't know. I feel like there's certain scenes, like, that I want to be like, they don't need this, but it's like, but it was only really 2 or 3 lines before we got to talk to Nadia, so, I think they tried to do too much. And they go on too long, and I think that's what it is, that part of me that even though we're getting cute little scenes that I enjoy, overall, is like, it's too much, and I'm getting a little bored overall. Even though, for the most part, the scenes that we're getting are good scenes, and I like them. I just think it's like they dragged it out too much. I guess. And because they're not balancing it well enough maybe that's I don't know. I'm still, guys, it's been like 22 hours, well, 20 now, and I still can't figure out what it is that just doesn't work for me with this one. Like, what is so not, like, I don't know. It doesn't have the magic that the first one had, you know? And the first one had, like, was just tragedy. You know? I don't know. Achoo! Anyway. I awoke from the dryness in my throat. When I noticed Eve wasn't in bed, I panicked for a moment, but I breathed a sigh of relief when I spotted a note saying he stepped out to call Mathis. Feeling relieved, I headed to the kitchen to get some water. I wonder if I have a cold. Is there a point to giving me a cold? You know what I mean? I looked around to make sure my sneeze hadn't woken anyone up. Hadn't woken anyone up. I was like, hadn't awoken? Oh, good lord. That's just me not being able to read. Thank goodness. Looks like no one woke up. How thin are the walls here? Still, there was no guarantee that I wouldn't sneeze again. I hurried to get some water so I could head back as soon as possible. I could have sworn no one was there. The sudden sound made me turn around with confusion. Okay, unless we're gonna, like, kidnapped or something, then okay. Is anyone there? My quiet voice was met with silence. I must be hearing things. Still, something didn't feel right, and it was starting to scare me. I better head back to the room quickly. I don't want to worry Eve if he returns while I'm gone. I shook away the fear and quickly rounded the corner. Huh? Is that Lucas? A shadow appeared before me. Yep. Okay, well, Boro, but like, it's the. That's what gave him away in the first game. When you saw the shadow, the hand raised up, it was the arm pose, the position of the arm, that gave it away as Lucas. But that's exactly what gave Boro away as being Lucas in the main game. Is this pose. This is a very Lucas pose. It was a pitch black, different from Eve's clothes that blended into the darkness. I could only see lips under his hood. Lips that had the same shape and beautiful pale color as my teacher's. The fact that she recognizes his lips. Girl? Have you been staring at them that long? Lucas? He'd been missing. Why did he suddenly reappear here? Before I could ask, the figure in front of me brandished his halberd. But what shocked me most was noticing the presence of a certain person hiding behind the shadow. What are you doing with Boro? Is it Dot? The blade that had claimed the lives of so many was raised high to strike. Not long ago, the man who looked strikingly similar to my teacher stood by Eve's side and laid siege upon this place. This time he wielded his power for the person at his back. Well, Eve's gonna come rushing to save us, because there's no way they're gonna let us die, because this would be bullshit.
I could hear a loud crash immediately after I got off the line with Mathis.
Or we at least ducked.
I hurriedly went back into the Institute to discover a number of researchers also startled by the noise. Eve! Uncle, what happened?
Boro's attacking the Institute. He's destroying the facility, and he took Spacey down to the underground passage. Oh, he kidnapped me. Sure, okay. Okay, well, now we're getting to the point. So, Dot knows that he's going to be found out. Kidnaps. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So we're not going to drag it out. We're going to get right to the action. Okay, I'm fine with this.
I quickly turned that down, but there was no way that Cyan, who could monitor the entire facility through cameras, wasn't aware of this. Well, that begged the question of why he wasn't doing anything. I headed to his room to confirm and found that the door was unlocked for some reason.
Finally, the person who's controlling Boro must be the elusive supporter. It's your time to shine now, Eve Noirs.
Cyan muttered calmly upon seeing us arrive.
I half expected Cyan to be dead, I'm not gonna lie.
What do you mean by that? Don't tell me you knew Boro was going after Spacey and didn't do anything about it.
What if I said you were correct?
I'll be angry. Later. Science smiled and said it was a wise decision.
In other words, you were using the princess's unique ability as a lure to expose the supporter.
So the investigations we were conducting were simply a ruse to smoke this person out.
You're quick on the uptake, but it's no problem. I knew she'd be safe. Stop, Bird.
Safe? But the supporter had already taken many lives. Hearing my mumbling, Cyan looked at me with eyes devoid of emotion.
I'll be keeping her safe, Eve Noirs. You'd go and let her go back. Oh, wait. You would go and get her back no matter who you faced, correct? Since you cut off the arm of a god, I doubt you'd lose it to a simple human.
He spoke from a completely emotional point of view, with no basis in the current reality.
Stop it, Bird. I need you to simmer down. No biting my face and stop biting my headset. Jesus, you're being a pain.
That really didn't sound like the Cyan I knew, though I did understand what he was getting at. The fact that I gained the trust of someone who was once a god gave me the confidence I needed. I didn't even need to wield a sword. Well, I guess I'll need to answer your call to action. I'm sure Spacey hasn't given up hope and is waiting for me to come. Things had changed, and now she wanted to live.
Eve hurried and changed his clothes in preparation for his dive underground with Anko. Cyan would remain behind at the Institute to support Eve and to keep an eye out for the supporters' movements. I love you, Bert. Oh, you asshole. I'll be back. Sorry, I had to throw the bird downstairs. Because I'm just trying to adjust my shirt so he's not digging his nails into my fucking throat and he takes a giant shit all over me. And so his ass is downstairs now because I don't want him here anymore because he's an asshole who knows better. So he can go sit downstairs and play by his goddamn self, but he's going to start fucking screaming any second, despite the fact that he's an asshole and doesn't deserve to be hanging out with us. Because he's a big fat fucking jerk and ruined my shirt. I need to wash this out, but as far as he knows, he ruined my shirt. He's a bad boy. Anyway, so I had to go chuck him downstairs. So, and obviously change, because I don't want a giant fucking bird shit all over my fucking shirt. So, anyway, Cyan would remain behind at the Institute to support Eve and to keep an eye out for the supporters' movement. He was being perfectly fine, and then it's like all of a sudden, then he's like biting my face, and then he's like biting at my headset, and it's like, why are you being so fidgety? I guess, but he wasn't being his normal fidgety, where it's like, oh, I gotta go take you and get you a break or something. No, he was just like being annoying, and then decided to take a giant shit on me, and it's like, you know what? Jackass. So.
I do not know who this supporter is, but we must go and save my princess before she's used for ill will.
Allie, let's hurry.
Eve dashed through the underground passage, following Cyan's navigation from the information that was gathered. No particular threat was found during yesterday's investigation, but the sound of dripping accompanied the appearance of a black shadow ahead. Eve, who was taking the lead, instinctively crouched when suddenly a large blade mercilessly passed right over his head. The one who threw the blade was none other than the murderer Boro.
So we can't tell if he's a clone or not just by his appearance.
Considering how much concern Lucas had for his students, it was likely that the one in front of them was a fake. If that was the case, there was no need for Eve to show mercy. He crouched down and swept his leg under the assailants.
Rah!
He used the momentum of the assailant's fall to heave him onto his back and slam his enemy right into the water. Jesus, I mean, goddamn, Eve. Hot moves.
Adolphe's special throw worked like a charm.
I mean, okay, so you're using Adolphe's moves, but still, like, hot damn, because we know how strong Lucas is.
Excellent. It seems you could use a sword now if you wanted to.
Sadly, I'm afraid not. I was only able to pull this off by using his momentum. We'd better get out of here.
But I'm glad they kind of did that, and, like, instead of, like, dragging it out like a fight, because we don't need a long fight for this, you know what I mean? So, before Boro could get up, they dashed down another path to lose him.
Can you hear me, Eve Noirs? Turn right at the next fork. The connection's getting bad. If it gets cut, head in the direction where the wind's blowing.
Understood.
Eve internally repeated Cyan's instructions in his mind so he wouldn't forget. Their assailant, Boro, wasn't coming after them. Instead, a new Boro? Eve jerked away from where he was, and in the next moment, a halberd came crashing down, creating a pillar of water. Yep. Should have figured there'd be more than one. With his vision obstructed by the water, Eve felt a blade graze across his abdomen. Eve! Boro's eyes were fixed on Eve as though he was the only target around. Sensing that, Eve braced himself.
Uncle, I'll be okay, so you go on ahead.
But he hadn't given up and was instead suggesting a plan of action to have Unco keep going.
Don't worry, I'll follow after you later. Spacey's your partner and someone you want to save, right, Unco?
He continued.
Once we save her, I'd be happy if you'd be friends with me, too.
Unco froze upon hearing those words. Of course he did, because he's still a Dolphin inside. Of all the things he was to hear...
You want to save her, right? Then just leave me and go. Give my regards to the other May, will ya? I hope we can become friends again.
I cannot possibly leave you after hearing that. Uncle quickly reached into his clothes and drew out a weapon he had kept hidden. Boro was prepared to lunge toward Eve, so Uncle pointed his weapon and fired. Right between the fucking, eyes, but you can't see his eyes because he's got a head thing on, but the hood. A lead bullet pierced the enemy. But it wasn't enough to kill him, which is funny because the other one we just basically knocked over and ran. This one got shot and he's fine. I'm just saying. Sensing the weapon was of a greater threat than Eve, Boro quickly shifted his malice toward his new target.
Uncle!
Uncle smiled, seeing Eve now free to move, and... You said what I wanted to say to you. Thank you very much for meeting Spacey and saving her, despite the twisted fate that I've caused. This time it's my turn. I will be the one to send you off. He smiled in a way that was somehow familiar. It's laughable to think that a mere puppet holding a weapon would try to kill me. Such a poor warped soul. Unco, the Watchman of Death, will send you off to Hades. The two who transcended the realm of mere mortals collided.
Unco!
Unco evaded the flurry of strikes as he fired his gun, and in the midst of battle looked at Eve. The look commanded that Eve leave now. Putting all his trust in Unco, Eve shook off his hesitation and...
Promise we'll meet later!
He ran with all his might through the passage to find Spacey. It was an action mirroring what Unco did back when Eve's other self urged Unco to move on. The capsule was different from the other capsule that reminded me of an egg, but it was the same in that it held such power over a person's life. How strange it was that I'd encounter a similar situation again. Why are you doing this? I was locked inside the capsule a few meters up in the air, which was likely to keep me from being rescued. I called out to the person hidden in the shadows of the devices. His soft chuckle grew into a high-pitched laugh. Oh, I mean, they just say supporter, but we know it's supposed to be Dahut, right? Like, well, unless in this scenario, well, no, because wait a minute. Capucine was helping us earlier, but that was in the other ending. Unless they're going to try to play and pretend it was Capucine this whole time. But we know Dahut's at the top, and then Capucine and Jean were kind of underneath him and his pawns and everything. So I would assume that this should be... It would be Dahut because I don't think Capucine would know about this lab. But I don't know what they're going to go on, if they're going to be like, let's just say it's Capucine and whatever. Actually, no, because Capucine's gone. They already caught Orty, right? Didn't we have that conversation with Nadia? And she's like, oh, since Dr. Capucine's missing or whatever. So it has to be Dahut. That's the only other option. They already knew that. I'm just getting confused as to like which ending and what part and who was where in which one of Eve's bits and pieces. But it would have to be, because I think when we talked to Nadia, she made it clear that like Capucine was like not there or whatever because he committed crimes or whatever. So we already knew, and Capucine wouldn't have gotten out and we already knew about him. So anyway, so it has to be Dawn anyway. And don't worry, as I have no intention of killing you yet. His voice, altered through some type of device, calmly filled the room. Oh, he is altering his voice, but whatever. Cyan Brofist has lost what made him special after the Guardian of the Lycoris defeated him. We're just going to talk like fucking Dahut, though, because we know who it is. Therefore, I'll become the god who saves this land. So you're saying you're going to conduct the experiments that Cyan did before? Precisely. Of course, I like many of the pawns I used to have on my side. So this resistance of mine's merely the final struggle. He continued. Which is why I will accept defeat once you're liberated from me. All you need to do is watch how this'll all end. I refuse. What? My life belongs to Eve and Eve alone. I won't entrust it to anyone else. With determination to resist, I slammed the wall of the capsule that confined me. I repeatedly pounded against it with all my might to show I wouldn't give up. She's like, I have glass-breaking hammers in my pockets, bitch. I didn't gain weight from those cookies. I've had a hammer in my pocket this whole time, motherfucker. That would have been smart. Carry on a weapon. What a surprise. To think this is coming from someone who always looked at things so pessimistically. But your desire to live leads to a certain dilemma. You do understand your desire to live means you're spitting upon the lives you've sacrificed, don't you? Of course I know that. I slammed my fist once more as tears filled my eyes from recalling those lost lives. If I were the same person as before, I'd probably have chosen death from the overwhelming guilt I felt. Even now the suffering lingered, and I wanted to apologize to those I had killed. But still, I won't give up. Adolphe sacrificed his life so I could live. And Eve told me that we would live together through the pain. I won't break that promise, ever. Choosing death would be the greatest insult to them. Good for her, though, you know what I mean? Because she's always like, no, let me die because I'm deaf and blah, blah. And she's always, I mean, again, I understand her pity parties, but she always has pity parties, and she always did in the very first game. Like, I absolutely get why you're the sad sack you are, but she always had them, no, I should die. And it's like, girl, I'm going to need you to get some, like, self-respect over here, and maybe, like, I don't know, just one little iota of, like, desire to live and, like, value in yourself, you know what I mean? So her doing this now, fuck that shit, is like, good. It's about time. I see. Then I will pass judgment on your sins. I will face God. No, I'll face the Guardian. He activated the device, and instantly I felt a mixed sensation of heat and cold running through my body. It was so terribly painful. In the exact same way as before, I could feel buds preparing to bloom inside my body. But if I was going to scream, it wouldn't be from agony. I won't die! I will live! Eve, I will be with you! I will live as death until my very last moment. I would fight against my own death. Ah, Lucas. Well said. Exactly what I would expect from my dear student. A shadow appeared from nowhere and leaped high above the capsule. Unlike the false versions, this one revealed a frail arm and a worn halberd. With a single strike, he destroyed the capsule. My new freedom was accompanied by my rapid descent to the floor below. Amid the shattered debris, my mentor, who had a pale face from nearing the end of his life, looked at me.
This is the best that I can do.
He smiled defiantly, despite falling with me to the floor.
I will leave the rest to your hero.
Just as Lucas exclaimed, another shadow appeared. A beautiful pitch-black figure leapt through the falling rubble toward me. Oh, this is our last CG. Oh, look how happy he looks. Look at the little joy on his adorable little face.
I'm here now. I've come for you, my beloved princess.
Eve! He caught me, cradling me gently in his warmth. Like, okay, I'm not gonna lie, like, they're wrapping this up fast, and that's okay. I'm okay with it. It's like, if you're gonna do this whole plot, just kind of tie it up fat, don't drag it on, and they're not dragging it on, so good for that. And, like, you know, moving it along at least makes it better, but I think it's just, again, because I keep questioning, like, why do we keep adding new plots? Instead of, like, hey, when you're all, like, I guess in this one they really couldn't help where they put the whole, oh, by the way, go search. It's just, I think my expectance of, like, the way they kind of fluff it out and drag it out, that they were going to drag it out for a couple of hours of, like, pointlessness, but they didn't. They did exactly what they should have, which is, all right, we're going to go investigate, and now we're going to get kidnapped, and now here's the rescue, and it's just bam, 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 good. Just keep doing it like this. You know what I mean? And then we don't get into these lulls of, like, what are we doing and why? So, but I like this. We didn't have a lot of exposition. We didn't have a 20-minute arc of talking about, they're like, we don't care. It doesn't matter. We're kidnapped. Lucas is going to come in, smash that capsule, and Eve just catches us as we fall. Like, if you could see this playing out in your head, and it's dramatic and amazing, and I'm here for it. Okay. The gentle darkness surrounded me. I knew you'd come for me.
And I knew you'd put up a fight to live.
Eve then looked at my bloodied hands and smiled with joy.
Thank you for not letting go of your will to live. As long as you see me as a reason to continue living, I will continue protecting your soul, along with the Lycorises in bloom.
I will too. The words he spoke were no different from words of love. They kind of were. Not different from words of love. They basically were words of love. So, even if the antidote was completed, the fact that I had reaped countless lives as death wouldn't change. This fact would continue to haunt me for the rest of my life. Perhaps I'd find myself considering death many times, too. But I'd return his love. I would bear every second of pain and sorrow I encountered in life. Though the pain I would endure for choosing life would be great, I love you more than anyone in this world. Oh. Okay, bye, CG. Eve held me tightly to protect me from the debris that continued to rain down on us. Some distance away, my dear teacher, crumpled on the floor and spitting out blood. Lucas!
Wait, Spacey.
Yes, and don't worry about me.
Eve held me back just as I was about to rush over to my teacher. Even the coughing Lucas had their eyes fixed on a certain threat.
Looks like my final struggle didn't work.
It's like they reveal him and you're like, like you're supposed to be shocked.
Dalhut.
The one who brought me to the laboratory. The supporter is Dalhut? It's because you played the first game, so you know, but it's still funny that they bothered to, like, try to hide his identity for a hot minute. The mastermind that caused so many tragedies and even deceived Cyan. Okay, the only reason I was questioning it was like, maybe they're gonna pretend it's Capucine and not Dalhut, but then it's like, oh wait, no, we already revealed that Capucine's in prison or whatever, so okay, it has to be revealing that it's Dalhut this time, because we didn't know that yet at this end, you know, but...
Hello, it's been a few days, Eve. You don't seem too surprised to learn that I'm the supporter.
Despite being our ally, you haven't really been around since the investigation started.
Eve continued with confidence.
It was also strange to see how Cyan didn't invite you to the meetings, despite your being a trusted colleague.
I see. He was the one who called for the investigation, yet it seems he already knew that I was this supporter. On top of that, he set a stage for you to come in and be the hero who captured me.
But why, Dalhut?
I have my own personal reasons for everything.
Dalhut continued to explain. He revealed he was actually the deceased Queen Christine's only son, Liam Revelpois. He gave a brief summary of the royal family's crimes and history of the curse. He quietly explained he was trying to create normal humans who would respect life after the curse was gone. If everything had gone according to plan, we'd already be rid of the curse by now. The explosion at the Institute failed to take down even Cyan. Now that my identity is revealed, my fight against this backwards country is now over. With that, Dahud continued. Yeah, okay, you're free to lop off my head or pierce my heart. Your choice. He is the best criminal mastermind I think we've ever had in any fucking game. You can't not love him. Even when he got all psycho and was trying to kill you, you're like, you know what? No, I'll accept it. Because, like, you know. Once you do that, make sure you destroy whatever spares of myself you can find in this laboratory. And that'll bring an end to Dahut, the supporter. As if welcoming his own death, he spread his arms wide. We're both just going to stare at him for a minute. Eve and I looked at each other. If he really was this supporter person, that meant he was the source of the many incidents that had occurred, as well as... Aww. The MVP flashback of this game. The death of Hugo. of Eve's route is just that same damn scene. Anger, hatred. It'd be a lie to say we didn't feel those emotions. Eve bit down on his lip and paused for what seemed like forever.
Spacey.
Yes? I quietly nodded as I could tell that he had somehow found his answer. Eve took a deep breath in and out to try and calm himself.
I'm not gonna kill you.
He spoke quietly to his friend's killer.
Huh? And where did that come from?
Dodd blinked rapidly at Eve's unexpected answer.
You do realize that everything I've done has caused you and Speezy to suffer, right? I know it's odd for me to say this, but I should be killed in the worst way possible.
It's true that I bear a grudge, but if I kill you, it'll make Nadia sad, since she sees you as a dear friend. Which is why I won't kill you. If you're going to admit defeat, I want you to repent by creating a country where she can live in peace.
Seeing Dahud confused, Lucas quietly took a step forward.
There are many things I need to ask you, but I am aware of the support you provided by keeping her company while I was unable to visit her. I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Please accept Eve's decision. Please do not make me kill you. I don't wish for Nadia to shed tears because of me.
Any more than she's going to when you die.
That's all I can say for now.
At that, the one who boldly spoke of his wrongdoings.
Ugh, unbelievable. You siblings really are something.
He smiled innocently as he tried to hold back tears. He then put his hands on his hips and stood with a demeanor fit for a king.
I suppose I have no choice. Not like the loser has any right to refuse whatever decision's made. I'll do my best to change this heartless country filled with fake humans and make it into one that respects life. Of course, I'll provide all the support I can to break the curse, too.
As if finally free from his shackles, he arrogantly declared his promise. Instead of returning to the Institute, Eve and I left through the passage and headed toward the ocean. Sensing that he was feeling down, I looked at him and... Eve, I think the choice you made was neither right nor wrong. Those who suffered at Dahud's hands would not have left him alive. Yet those who cared for him would have wanted him to live. So please, don't feel like this is something you need to bear yourself. We'll share the burden of that decision together.
You're right. I'd be doing a disservice to Hugo if I simply accepted what happened as a matter of fact.
Eve took a deep breath to control his emotions. He then faced me with an expression of relief and resolve.
I still have to help with the completion of the antidote, but I suppose we can live in peace from now on.
I believe so too. Now that we have Dahud on our side, it shouldn't take long for the royal family's sins to go public. Oh, but I wonder what Cyan wants to do about making you a hero.
It'd be nice for us not to be chased by the public, but
Eve nodded firmly.
my name... I'll just let him use the Noir's name. I have no intention of being a hero. I'm good as long as I can spend the rest of my life at peace with you.
As long as it's not in a musty cave, is all I'm saying. That sounds really nice. I'd like that too. He must be refusing the title of hero because he couldn't forgive himself for all the sins he committed. The night was about to end. We'd be greeting a new tomorrow, similar to before, just slightly different now. We gazed at the ocean slowly being painted in gentle colors as we reminisced about what had happened. Spicy. I could hear the sound of rustling clothes. Upon hearing Eve say my name, I turned toward him and saw him on one knee. Eve?
There's something I wanted to tell you once everything was over.
It was like that night. The night when Eve kneeled in a similar manner amid the flames, asking for my hand in marriage. I mean, that's true, we've already, but it's okay, you could do it again, I'm fine with it. He took a deep breath, and with all his heart,
let's get married.
I know you technically already proposed at the end of the first game, but it's like he's on one knee. And you're like, still, you're at this moment, let's get married. Not as romantic as I was expecting the words coming out of your mouth to be, but sure, why not?
In name and in deed, please be my Lycoris bride.
Married? An actual marriage had never truly crossed my mind before.
Yeah, I said I'd live arrogantly, and yet I thought I didn't have the right to marry. But in my dream, my old partner said...
Is that going to be the after-credit scene? You two still have lots of things you want to see and do, don't you? If so, then be an arrogant demon and make those dreams a reality.
He actually supported me with those words. I have this world and the Lycoris field that my grandfather left for us, and I want to be able to face them and proudly say you're my bride.
It wasn't only his words, but his gentle eyes that captivated me. Maybe we still have another CG. Do we have a wedding CG? Are we going to actually get a wedding CG in this game? Okay, you know what? Before long, tears flowed down my cheeks. Why are we keep repeating why? Huh. Oh. I was death and I had taken so many people's lives until now. Yet I was still alive because of the kindness of those I had killed. It wasn't really Hugo and Adolphe. You didn't, okay, never mind, but still. I would likely never find an answer to why this was happening, and I would continue to suffer with that thought forever. But she's back and having her pity party again. I was able to raise my head up, even a little. I mean, I get it, it's been so ingrained in her for 18 fucking years, but every once in a while you're like, could you just get over it? She had a moment and you were like, good, we're making Brent, now we're back. But small progress, baby steps, I get it. She spent her whole life being treated like she was the worst thing ever, so I kind of get it, you know. Are you really sure? I was so happy. I wanted to nod in agreement right away. But before that, I wanted him to tell me that I could be arrogant, too.
What you need to think about isn't whether you can or can't. It's whether or not you want to.
He teased me, not telling me the words I wanted to hear. But he was supportive in saying that I could do what I wanted. My lips trembled as I smiled. I want to be your bride. Suddenly, crimson flowers filled our vision. Well, that usually means we're about to die. No, I'm just kidding. Surprised, Eve stood up next to me, and we both stared at the sight in a stupor.
Crimson Lycorises. Could it be that they're in bloom somewhere in the country?
Eve mumbled as he imagined the flowers he dreamed of blooming magnificently. Maybe the Lycorises are blessing our marriage.
I'd be so happy if that were true.
With that, Eve pulled me into his arms. We both looked up at the miraculous flowers dancing beautifully in the air.
I know. Why don't we look for the Crimson Lycorises together, Spacey? We'll find the flowers that have watched over us, and let them know firsthand we're getting married.
Right. Are we really going to go on a scavenger hunt for flowers? As night faded, the flowers that he protected danced higher into the sky. We would never be able to follow the flowers to the heavens, but this feels very final coded, and it should be. I didn't care, so long as I could continue to bloom by his side. That 100% should be the motherfucking end. Okay, good. And, well, I mean, aside from our after credit scene. The after credit scene. We have to have a wedding now, goddammit! So, like... The small country of Arpachel surrounded by the sea and fields of black Lycoris. Those born here are said to live under the dreaded curse of death, who had ruled over the land since ancient times. The longest that one can live is 23 years. But things have changed. Led by the Watchman of Death, who suddenly appeared, there were 2 who succeeded in lifting the curse, and thus earned the title of Virche that originated in the outside world. With the curse now dispelled, Arpachel has changed. We have no idea who was saying that. It was all question marks. But like, oh, there we go. There's our Crimson Lycoris. That's the title of this end. The Scarlet Lycoris are in full bloom now, proof of the love between a once married couple. Oh my god, is this going to be another CG? Is it? Blessed by the saviors who lifted the curse, we're grateful to live as normal humans. Long live Lord Cyan Brophies! Long live Lord Nuharge! Oh, we're a lord and lady now! I was like, okay, I'm not gonna lie. When they said the 2 people who saved the country, I'm like, you better be giving Cyan some fucking credit, because, like, even if I had a hand in it, like, Cyan's the one who scientisted that shit. You know what I mean? Cyan is literally science. He literally is the science, so, like, you can't not include him in this. I know it's not his route, but, like, come on. So, like, okay, they're giving it to Cyan and Eve. Okay, rightfully so. We should not be getting any credit for this. We were just there to be a bitch along the way. Like, no offense to us. We did nothing in this, nothing, but just exist here. May the legacy of the Virche heroes be honored forever! One of the Virche heroes, Cyan Brophies, looked on with a frown at the crowds that gathered in Cernival to celebrate them. Virche, an honorable title given to heroes. Cyan just pouting at people, praising him. Very Cyan-coded. A series of events bordering on insanity had resulted from Dahut's schemes. The truth behind the mysterious deaths, the illegal practices of the Society of Exorcists, the missing prostitutes that struck the whole country, and the countless casualties that occurred. Including Dahut, every single perpetrator was exposed. Capucine was sentenced to life in prison. Jean was spared from death due to being a descendant of the Claude family, and was sentenced to public service with Mathis. The mastermind, Dahut, bore upon himself the shackles of living forever in the castle to serve the country until the very end. In truth, he did escape from time to time. His disappearances were to meet a girl who transferred to a hospital in Cernival, as well as her brother. That's actually cute. He did have, occasionally he escaped just to go hang out with Nadia and, like, whatevs. I actually kind of like that little touch. It's adorable. Cyan was aware of this and turned a blind eye to the situation. See, Cyan's not totally heartless. He's like, whatever, as long as he comes back. If I have to go out of my way to find that fucker. There was still confusion among the public. It was true that a hero was needed to bring the series of events to a complete end, but... It's been a year now. I never expected that even I would be made a hero. I suppose this is the price I must pay for acting as a god. Maybe being forced to play a role so out of character is part of your penance. Well, I guess I've also got my hands full trying to establish a parliamentary system now that the royal family's gone. Are you sure you don't want to be king? I only call myself king to help destroy what the country valued. I'm trying to be a normal person now, even though the idea makes me a little nervous. Then again, I have to believe in the possibility that people can change. Educating the public's still ongoing. Seems both you and I have become ordinary humans. Cyan brushed away the shower of confetti with a frown. I can only imagine what the other Virche hero who pushed this role onto me is doing now. Probably me, if you think about it. I mean, we can only hope. The other man who became a hero alongside Cyan only made public his family name and went into hiding somewhere in Arpachel. No one knew the face of the other man who contributed to the creation of the antidote, but they did know one thing. Isn't it obvious? I'll bet you... They're spending time together in the Lycoris field as we speak. Dahut gets us. This kind-hearted man was widely known as someone who loved the beautiful Lycoris Noirges. And now they're all red outside our little house. We were now living quietly in the newly saved Arpachel. We were able to walk around town now, but we still tried our best to avoid people. No one but friends and family knew that Eve, once considered a demon by many, was one of the beloved Virche heroes. There were smiling faces everywhere, excited for a bright future. But we would never forget the sacrifices hidden within the shadows. Okay, let's just get to our wedding. We would live with the pain for the rest of our lives.
Now, you can exchange vows without any
Interference. Is Anko marrying us? Because that'd be fucking cool.
As the Watchman of Death, I will witness your new beginning. Ah, how I longed for this day to come. I can finally say those words. Thank you for saving Spacey, Eve. Friend of my soul.
Stop it. This is what I just wanted. If they're gonna give me, just give me a goddamn happy ending, and this works, okay?
I'm truly happy to have met a friend like you. The precious Lycoris as you guard it.
The precious Lycoris.
You guard it has bloomed beautifully.
Spacey.
Someone called my name lovingly as I admired the scarlet Lycorises.
Why are you staring off into the distance? Don't tell me you're still not used to seeing the red Lycorises.
That may be so. Whether the Lycorises are black or red, I'm always astounded by how beautiful they are. My dress swayed softly in the wind as I responded to his voice. We got a wedding dress. This is the dress he asked Mathis to make. You knew when it was coming anyway.
That dress looks great on you, but are you sure you're okay with it being black? Mathis was worried the whole time it was being prepared you might prefer a different color.
It's okay because it matches you, Eve. See, don't I look more like your bride now?
How can I argue against such a happy thought?
Give us a damn CG! This is what I'm angry about. Fucking A, just give us the CG. It was a quiet wedding ceremony with no one but the scarlet Lycoris Noirges in full bloom and Anko watching from a distance. Since we still stood out in public, we couldn't invite the others to attend, but everyone we knew of offered to help and pitched in for the preparations, which was why we were able to welcome this day without generating public interest. We faced the direction of the town with gratitude to our loved ones, and
now, let's share our vows as husband and wife with the dress you chose.
Okay. With my spirited reply, here we go. Here we go. How fucking adorable. Look how actually happy she fucking is. Did he cut his hair? Because I don't see his long-ass hair. He gently lifted me up with arms that were now full of life. Looking down at him from above, it's fucking beautiful. I could see Eve's beautiful eyes so close to mine. Oh, and then we kissed. Before I knew it, I had already kissed him. He smiled boldly, shaking off all the regret and guilt that had grown inside him over the years.
I love you. I really love you, Spacey. Even if I live with my sins beyond the end of this life. I swear on the Lycorises that I'll love you forever. Please be my partner for all of eternity.
He shared this truth with a feeling greater than the world could contain. I nodded in response as I felt the warmth of his embrace envelop me. Every word he spoke was so melodic and endearing. Now that I think about it, Eve has always showered me with words like this. That he liked me, that he wouldn't let me die, that he loved me. He was always first to say these things. But this time, I would muster the courage to take the initiative. No, it was something I needed to get off my chest. I feel the same way. I promise to love you with all my soul, my dear Lycoris groom. Aw. Please keep the sinful bride by your side, even if you travel to the ends of Hades. My feelings for him were overflowing, and I couldn't stop myself. And I just like the fact that everything's billowing in the wind, too. Oh, I wondered whether I had said it too loud, but Eve responded with a smile, and
I'm happy to hear how much your vow was just like you.
he lovingly pulled me back into his arms. I could feel the heat of life coming from him. This fact alone made me so happy that I wanted to be wrapped up in it forever. I reached out and touched his cheek with my fingers. Oh, we get a close-up of our kiss. Lovely. With that, he spoke his final vow. Well, he still has the bow in his hair, but it's like, where's his hair? Like, I don't know.
Let's go to Hades together when the time comes. If I'm with you, I won't be afraid of despair. In this world and in Hades. You're my only love, Spacey.
You're one of many and a man a harem, Eve. Way to ruin the moment. As if to bless me and Eve, the air was filled with a blizzard of vibrant red. We would meet many people as we sailed the ocean of life, but no matter what happened, our feelings and these beautiful scarlet lycorises would never wilt. The story of Noirs would continue forever and ever.
I love you. I really love you. Not just in this world, but whether you're in heaven or Hades, you're the only one I love. I will forever be, not a hero, but your Lycoris groom who will always be with you. And I vow to love you with all of my soul. No matter the suffering, we'll live together forever.
Oh, how beautiful. Okay, let's go check our things. They did what they needed to do, and because again, I was very concerned about the whole, what are we only had, though, I think this is a new one. And it only has the one version. I was very concerned, like, oh my god, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, when they started this whole new plot line, but they wrapped it up quickly. And like, but I just don't know what it is when we have these moments in these games. I'm just like, they tied this up and they made it beautiful and perfect at the end. But I don't know what it is. I think it's just because the game has such heavy moments that, like, I don't trust it to give me a happy ending, I guess. To be fair. You know what I mean? I mean, this is... Yeah, okay, yeah, toggle extras as I... And then, like, that's adorable! This one's still... I mean, and with the green glow, it's actually really kind of cool. It's, like, comic booky. You know, there's something... Because, like, the green glow of, like, kryptonite. You know what I mean? I don't know. But yeah, no. And I mean, and that's the thing. I don't know what it is. So I come in and I know in every one of Eve's parts, we've had a good time overall. There's been moments where I'm like, what the fuck is the point of this? What are we doing? But then they bring it back and we do something that's fun again. So I don't know what it is that I always just come in like, they're going to drag this. Like, but they did it right this time. I think I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I really don't. I have no excuse for why I always just feel like, oh, they're going to drag it on, or I just feel like I'm going to get bored, and then they don't. I mean, again, I think it was because in Mathis's, just the way they kind of, like, fucked up not tying everything together right. Like, the way they did it was, like, so aggravating and frustrating that I'm just preparing for it in this one for, like, Eve's route to do that, and his never did do that. But every time we start to get into a lull, I'm like, oh, we're just going to drag along and it's going to suck. And then they just turn it around and we're having nice moments. And like the whole little conversation with Mathis, like I was already prepared. I was just preparing in my mind, like, oh, they're going to drag this on for like 3 fucking hours and we're going to be bored. And it's like, no, they wrapped it up in exactly did what they needed to do. And I like having those little scenes. Like, yeah, because these were the ones that we saw before. And we saw that one. Did we see this one before? I think we did. I think we had those, right, because we had the 2, and then that last one was the end one. Okay, so this can definitely, I'm sorry. Like, oh, that's adorable, but this one's perfectly for the end. You know what I mean? So I think I'm just preparing for it to, like, no, I don't know, and I haven't gotten out of that. Which you'd think after, like, 20 hours, I'd get the fuck over it, and yet haven't. This is the 20, right? Yeah. Huh. Or is this part 21? No, this is part 21. This is part 21. Okay. So we'll do the bad end for him next, in the next part. That part's going to probably be really fucking short because I have a feeling it's going to be very, very tiny. So we'll just rehash my thoughts and everything all over again then. And so I won't put too much into this right now because we're a little over time here, but it's fine. And then that part's going to be short as shit, but I don't want to edit it to the end of this one. So prepare for that part to be like 15 minutes. But whatever. Anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.